Hey, folks, this is Jeff Young from Kings of Thrash. You're watching CMS TV. Ooh.
All right, let's see what else we got on the old list here.
All right.
Let me look here real quick.
Want to talk about Vinnie Vincent?
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. That's something that you definitely know a little more about it than I do.
Sure.
Because you kind of brought me up to date with that a little bit, but right. I wasn't aware. But last year, some of the other internet DJs out there,
yes,
who have shows, Chris Sinzak.
Yeah.
Did I say his name correctly?
You did.
He and his fellow broadcasters have a show called what?
The Rock and his show is just the Decibel Geek Podcast.
The Decibel Geek Podcast. Well, they had this idea that they wanted to do this Rock and Pod Expo in Nashville, Tennessee.
Correct.
I specifically was a little skeptical about the whole thing.
Right.
And they apparently pulled it off okay.
They did.
And they decided that they wanted to do another one this year.
Correct.
So you take it from there.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go backwards a little bit. So, as everybody remembers, the big news was that December or January? When
that was
that?
January. It happened in January, but it was announced like October last year.
Right. That Vinnie Vincent was coming out of hiding to do the Atlanta Expo.
Yeah, the Atlanta Kiss Expo after 20 years of being out of the public eye.
Right. So it was big news that the great Vinnie Vincent was coming out of hiding. You know, it was this big deal. And for people that don't know, Decibel Geek especially, but a ton of these podcasts fucking worship Vinnie Vincent. I mean, worship this guy. Like, and for the life of me, I can't figure out why. I mean, I get it. They like Creatures of the Night. They like Lick It Up. You know, I get it, I guess.
They like the Vinnie Vincent invasion.
Yeah, they like the invasion, whatever. You know, and that's fine. If you're a Kiss fan, I guess that's what you do. You know, for me and you, we've gone through this a million times. Neither one of us are overly huge Kiss fans, so it doesn't mean much to us. But regardless of that, it was a big deal to Kiss fans and whatever. And so a lot of these podcasts went down and checked out the Atlanta Expo, including Chris and Aaron from Decibel Geek. And while they were there, they struck up a conversation with Vinnie about maybe doing the Rock and Pod Expo. And they had some discussions, and Vinnie did their podcast for like a 2-hour podcast with them, hour and a half, 2 hours with Vinnie, a couple of months ago, I guess. And it was announced at that time that Vinnie had agreed to do the Rock and Pod Expo, the second edition of the Rock and Pod Expo.
Now, the second edition is also going to be held in Nashville?
It is.
Okay.
Which is where Vinnie lives.
So it's just a car drive for him.
That is correct.
Okay.
Now, some of this is public record. Some of it I'm just going to tell because fuck Vinnie. He's a fucking cunt. But
yeah, and you're allowed to say that today because cunt is there's no there's no bounty on the word cunt now.
Yeah, Sally Field made it okay.
Yeah.
So, and Samantha Bee. So the deal was that they were doing a meet and greet package for Vinnie, and they were selling tickets. I don't know what it costs, $150, $200, whatever it costs, to meet the great Vinnie Vincent and get your picture taken with him and get your autograph. And Vinnie's deal was that he got all of the money.
100% of the proceeds from the meet and greet.
From the meet and greet, and 2 personal security guys.
Okay.
To, protect him, because he is royalty after all. He's royalty among those that have ripped off fans and stolen money from them, and sold them shit that they never sent, and he's a god in that world. But he's apparently some kind of fucking god in the rock world. So he made this agreement, and they started promoting it and selling packages and doing everything they could to promote it, and they've been promoting it for 2 fucking months.
All right. Well, I have a question first.
Okay.
And you may or may not know the answer.
Okay.
Did they already have a signed agreement to those terms?
This I do not know for certain because I have not seen it, but I believe so.
Okay, so he already had a actual signed agreement that this was the stipulation of the terms.
I believe so.
Okay.
But again, I have not seen it, so I don't know that. But I know that I was specifically told that the terms were the money from the meet and greet and the security guards.
So you personally don't know if it was just verbal or actual signed contract.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. I do not know that for an absolute fact.
Okay.
But what I do know is that in typical Vinnie style, as he did with Kiss, as he did with everything he's ever done, with his auctions, with his fucking box set, etc., when it came time to start honoring anything, he fucking changed the terms.
Okay.
He sends a note this week to Sinzak that says, well, I'm not, those terms are not happening anymore. Now you have to give me a guarantee and a deposit or I'm not coming. Or good luck with your festival, but fuck you. That's the basic gist of it.
Well, I asked you this earlier, and I don't know if you have the answer now, but what does the guarantee, what is there a figure on the guarantee?
There was not a figure on the email that I saw.
All right. So how do you have a guarantee without a figure?
Well, I think here's what I think happened, and this might explain it. I think Vinnie was changing the terms, and his thought was what would come back to him was, okay, well, how much do you need? I think that was Vinnie's way of starting a renegotiation. And Sinzak was like, no, we're not giving you a guarantee. Your guarantee is 100% of the fucking proceeds.
Yeah, if one person shows up at whatever it is, $150,
that's what you get.
Yeah, that's what you get. So I guess the question from a business standpoint is that when somebody says, I need a guarantee, that means they have a number in mind, and they're expecting X amount of dollars, win or lose.
Right.
But he didn't specify what that number of dollars would be.
No, and further, he agreed to something else. Even if it was just a verbal, he still agreed to something else. And I know legally there's, a verbal doesn't mean anything and blah, blah, blah. I get all that. But if you agreed to it, he knew who he was dealing with. He knew he was not dealing with a corporately funded entity. He knew he was dealing with a bunch of fucking podcast guys. So he knew it was guys that are working shoestring, DIY effort to get this thing done. He agreed to the terms that he agreed to based on the fact that it was a DIY type of an event, and based on the fact that so many of these podcasters from the Atlanta thing sucked his fucking dick. Decibel Geek has been sucking his fucking cock for fucking 7 years. For their entire time that they've been on has been nothing but pro Vinnie and Vinnie Vincent. And when Vinnie comes back, and like this guy was a goddamn legend. And our now friend Mark Striegel. Mark couldn't have been more excited to meet Vinnie at the Atlanta Expo, and He did a big long interview with Vinnie talking about, the old days with Vinnie. And you remember, dude, when we were covering the Atlanta Expo, we were stunned at how people were fawning over this guy.
Hey metalheads, tired of waiting for new episodes? Crave the real raw classic metal show? For just $4.99 a month, you can become a CMS VIP. You get every episode a full week early, completely uncensored, and 100% commercial free. It's the only place to interact directly with the show, plus you score the Fast Pass, so your song requests get bumped straight to the head of the line on every live version. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe right now at classicmetalshow.locals.com and become a CMS VIP today.
And how much attention was being thrown at Vinnie fucking Vincent. So, but all of it came from the podcasting community, and Eddie Trunk. There was no, if you remember, there was no national story about Vinnie Vincent coming back. There was no USA Today or LA Times, or no one gave a fuck. Do you agree with that?
I would agree, and I would agree that is a lot of jizz.
I mean, that's the gist to this.
No, that's the jizz to this.
That's the jizz to this.
Right.
That this alleged transgender fucking queerball comes back to the goddamn world, and the people that let's face it, overlooked that issue. And how many comments did we see online about people saying, why are you guys picking on how he looks, or if he's a tranny? It's all about the music. It's the music that counts. Remember all that nonsense?
I do remember all that.
And these people were the ones that were defending it night and day, including Sinzak. Sinzak was one of those that was like, clearly he had told me he was annoyed by the jokes about how Vinny looked and whatever.
Okay.
Fine. That's fine and dandy. But you know what? Looking at him now, how's he look today? He looks like a fucking scumbag. That's how he looks today. Because he basically pulled the fucking rug out under these guys that were just trying to promote him. And, he's a piece of shit. That's just the bottom line to it, is he is a fucking piece of shit. Period. And the saddest part about it is, who he hurt the most by doing this? Himself. There's nobody covering Vinnie fucking Vincent. Is there?
Well, on a national level, aside from Eddie Trunk, I would agree with you. No, there is not one major news outlet that is saying the reemergence of Vinnie Vincent.
Yeah. So who in today's world, in 2018, 2019, allegedly this fucking superhero is getting back with Robert Fleischman to do a new Vinnie Vincent invasion record. In 2019, who would be the guys that would fucking promote that?
Just the podcasters.
Just the podcasters. And they're all going to be like, not all, but I would imagine 70, 80% of them that are getting fucked, that are part of this expo and are part of all the fundraising and everything that's going on for this expo. What are they going to do when they get pitched the Vinnie Vincent interview? They're going to pass. They're going to say, fuck that guy. I'm not going to help that fucking piece of shit. And then there's us. Would we do a Vinnie Vincent interview right now?
I would do it if he could produce the couple of dogs that got killed by the cars. If he could lay those dogs up on the table,
yeah,
I would pay his guarantee.
Well, dude, seriously, if I got pitched Vinnie Vincent, would you want to do it?
No, because there's really nothing left to say, is there?
Not that I know of. Nothing he's going to talk about.
I mean, the guy showed up at the expo this past January.
Right.
He barely performed with Gene Simmons, looking like that guitar was a foreign piece of, material in his hands.
Right, sure.
I mean, he looked like he couldn't even play.
Right.
Even though he said during the expo that he practices hours a day.
Yeah, 8 hours a day or
Yeah,
something.
he looked like the guitar was a foreign thing in his hands.
Yeah, looked like he'd never picked one up before.
Something tells me he couldn't play because he was staring at Gene like a mental patient, looking for some kind of cue as to what he should play or how he should play.
Yeah.
So, do I believe that he still plays? No, I don't. I don't believe it for a minute.
Well, here and here, I agree with you, but I agree with you for a different reason. I've met and known 10,000 guitarists in my life, and of those 10,000 guitar players, there's not a single one of them that can be in a room without picking up a guitar that's in it. Not a single one. You know, dude, how many times have you been backstage, whether it's a Dokken, well, just use Dokken because you're always backstage at the Dokken shows. You know, when you go backstage in a Dokken room, and no matter how big or small the changing room is, you're in the changing room, there's Don. Tell me if I'm incorrect in this. It'll be Don, Mick, McCarville, Levin, and Levin will be holding a guitar 90% of the time.
Levin will be holding a guitar 90% of the time, and Don will be right next to him, usually just kind of, working up a little bit of practice tune.
But even if they're done playing, if they're done with their gig and they're waiting on their food to come over or some shit like that, Levin will be sitting in a chair picking at a guitar.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what guitar players do. Guitar players are really absorbed with their guitar.
They're obsessive with it.
They are. And Vinnie Vincent, he did not look like he wanted to touch a goddamn guitar. Not in Atlanta, not at the vault, none of it. He didn't look like he wanted nothing to do with it. Like he'd never seen one before. So I wouldn't have been shocked if he picked it up and held it backwards on accident. Because he just doesn't remember how to hold it anymore. But most importantly, and regardless of that, he's a fucking scumbag. You know, and I think the lesson is finally learned here. You can't trust this piece of fucking shit. You just can't trust him. You know, history has shown, whether the history was Gene and Paul, who are the professional of musicians, whether you like Kiss or you don't like Kiss, they've been able to maintain that goddamn money-making machine for 50 years. They clearly know something about doing business, right?
They do.
And they clearly could not fucking cut ties quick enough with Vinny. Fair?
Well, he's not part of the, Kiss entity anymore. And I mean, he hasn't been part of that for years.
And he didn't stay long.
And they've had a few more guys since him.
Yeah. But there's never been talk of him coming back or, if you've heard Paul's book or read Paul's book, Paul fucking smashes him. Paul fucking smashes Vinny for being a piece of shit. So, it just, he's proven it with Kiss. Now he's proven it with these podcast guys. He made an agreement. He's not honoring it. He proved it with the box set. He made an agreement to give these guys with the box set, this product, and he just didn't deliver it. And what did he say at the Atlanta thing? Oh, well, anybody that got fucked on that deal, I'm going to make it up. I'm going to send you 2 box sets each. Last I've looked, I have not heard one person that said, hey, look what I got in the mail today. My 2 box sets from Vinnie fucking Vincent. Fuck Vinny, man. He's a fucking cocksucking fuck.
Well, again, which is the reason he's been out of the limelight for 2 decades.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's only my opinion that he's a fucking asshole, but, he's a fucking asshole. And I hope he gets, I hope, and this is the one thing that I hope, is that for any of the podcast people out there that are, either hearing this thing or whatever about Vinny, I hope that when if Vinny, like his book, he's allegedly writing this book. The book will come out. I hope every fucking podcaster that's involved tells the guy to go fuck himself when it comes time to promote his book. Help him not sell any fucking copies because no one gives a shit. If you want to fucking do a Kiss book and help a guy that knew something about Kiss, call that Gordon, what's his name? Gordon Gaybear?
Yeah.
Gaybear, that we had him on the show.
Yeah, once. Yeah, we had him on the show.
At least that guy was honest about his opinions of Kiss and whatnot, and those guys. He didn't fuck anybody over, to my knowledge. So you know what? What is this? What's the number? 800-497-5891?
That's right. 800-497-5891.
Yeah, Sinzak, I'm getting a message that he wants to call in. So if he wants to call in, he's more than happy. I'm more than happy to have him on. But I don't like seeing people, I don't like seeing anybody really get fucked over. And I certainly don't like, whether you like the Decibel Geek podcast or you hate it, or you like Chris or you hate him or whatever, it's good people getting fucked over trying to do good for the rock community. And, believe me when I tell you, Chris at Decibel Geek is not doing the Rock and Pod Expo under some guise of he's going to get rich off it.
Yeah.
He's going to be happy if he makes his dollars.
No, he'll be happy if he breaks even.
Yeah. But he's doing it because he loves the music and he's a fan, and, and he's trying to greater good things, whether you believe in even the Rock and Pod Expo or not. Whether you believe in the whole cause, he's just trying to fucking, grow the community a little bit in what is an emerging technology. And for this old fucking tired transgender whatever fucking queen to fuck over basically the entire rock community like that, fuck him. I hope he fucking, dies and is buried in a fucking Hillary pantsuit like he wears.
Well, I had heard, and again, this is unsubstantiated, that Vinny had a falling out with the original guy.
Right.
That brought him out to the Kiss Expo back in January.
Oh, the big guy that was doing the interviews?
The big guy. Yeah, I don't know the guy's name, but I heard that there was some kind of a, altercation with him as well. But
dude, it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me at all if that was the case. It just seems like Vinny cannot fucking function in the world of honorable business.
Well, why would he? He's been kind of a recluse for almost 20 years, and he hasn't, of course, according to the history of Kiss, or the Kisstory as it were.
Yeah.
Dealings with Vinny has been sketchy even back then.
Yeah. But who operates that way? I mean, I know people do, but my God, when your career is in the shitter, why the fuck do you want to keep fucking swimming under the shit?
Because that's what they know. That's the way that they operate in life in general.
But it's clearly failed Vinnie Vincent. He was so goddamn broke that he couldn't afford to tour with Kiss. Remember? He's only making $600 a week, and he had kids and a wife. Shut up. The reason you made shit was because you wouldn't sign your fucking contract. And then you tried to sell the paper copy of your contract for $30,000 on your auction, you fuck. What a douche.
Alan Killcaller, you're on the air.
Is it me?
Yeah, you're on.
Oh, I am the one who got screwed.
You're the one who got screwed.
Hey, Chris, it's Chris.
Hey, what's up, dude? So
I was told you were doing your segment now, so I'm on the road, so I thought I would call in.
Sure. Well, dude, I mean, we kind of went through it, and, the one question that came up that I did not have an answer to is, did you have a verbal from Vinny, or did you have a written from Vinny?
It was a verbal. I have it recorded on audio, and I have that audio ready if it comes to where I need it.
Okay. So that's...
No, I mean, it was the original terms were no appearance fee, so I didn't see really much of a need for a contract if he's going to do it for free.
Right, and he was getting, like, the meet and greet money, right?
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, like, there was, we had set up autograph, there was autograph tickets, there was photograph tickets, there was T-shirts he was going to sell, and then we did have meet and greet packages, and this is, a lot of this is going to come out on Decibel Geek tomorrow, but no, this is, also what makes it even more kind of strange the way it worked out was because he was really being cool about it at first. Like, he was, he said, I want your expo to succeed, and we're going to do this for no fee. And, he said set up VIP packages where, like, you have swag bag and, an exclusive poster for the expo and stuff like that. And basically all he wanted, though, was the money for the autographs and the photographs, and, like, any extra money from VIPs and stuff like that, we would get to keep. So, right. He seemed like he was going above and beyond from the get-go, but, then, of course, this last week happened, and, it's like now suddenly you want a guarantee and a deposit. So,
well, what was the guarantee and what was the deposit? What did he want guaranteed? How much?
I don't know, Neely, because, I initially went back to his assistant and said, well, this wasn't what we agreed to, but what's the number? But what happened was, the more I thought about it, the more I was kind of like, this is not cool, because, like, as I thought about this more, I almost wonder if it was a thing where he was taking advantage of my fandom, because, as Chris certainly knows, I'm a giant fan of this guy. And I think it was a deal where, I'm going to agree to do this free of charge early on, get you to announce it, get you to hype it for 2 months, and then I'm going to act shady, and then I'm going to, pull this where I'm asking for a guarantee. So it was one of those things where it was like, as I thought about it, and, like, literally in, like, the course of a half hour, I thought about it more, and I was like, this is just not right, because agreed on. The Rock and Pod Expo was successful last year, and it's doing well this year, but it's a self-funded DIY thing. It's not like we're a big corporate-funded horror convention like the ones he's been doing. So he knew that from the outset. So I kind of felt like we were being taken advantage of, and the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I don't need to know the number. We're just not going to work with you, because I could see where this was going. And this is just me trusting my gut, and it's more of a case of I just wondered, what's going to happen 2 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, 6 weeks from now? Is he going to just change the amount that he wants or his demands or whatever? So I just thought it better to break ties, and that's what I did.
So in essence, his behavior was exactly the same as the box set. He took advantage of a bunch of people's fandom, and then he fucked them. Plain and simple.
Yeah. I mean, you can look at it that way. I mean, it's funny. I still have this, there's certain things of his history that he's gotten a lot of hate for that I still defend him on. And with the box set thing, I still think it's more complex than people think. I don't think he set out to create a box set and screw people over and never deliver on it. I really don't think that was the intention. I think it was more of a case of he banked on a payday from Gene and Paul with the royalty lawsuit that he filed, and he turned out he was wrong, and he didn't win, and he threw all that money from the box set orders into legal fees, and then next thing he knows, he can't fulfill the orders. That's my theory on that.
Oh, and that could be right, dude, but that's the same as what he just did to you. He's banking on that you were going to say, hey, we've sold 10,000 goddamn tickets, and,
right.
Here comes this big check, but now it's not there because,
right.
it just hasn't sold on those kind of numbers because, like you said, it's DIY. Dude, you probably didn't hear it because you're in the car, but I said Vinnie Vincent has a history of just being a scumbag. Maybe not in everything, but his history has proven over and over again that he bait and switches everything. Paul's talked about it in Paul Stanley's book. Gene obviously was business enough not to work with the guy again. the box set, you can try and defend it any which way you want, but regardless of why it didn't happen, he took $100 or whatever that box set was from however many fans. It did not deliver them their money or the thing, and he should have done jail time for that.
And in my opinion, the first step, for integrity when he made the appearance in Atlanta would have been to have had, an assortment or whatever of box sets available, at least just to the people that bought the original one,
Looking for your daily dose of classic metal? Follow the Classic Metal Show on X at x.com/CMSRocks. Get the latest classic metal news, honest opinions, exclusive clips, and full episodes of the Classic Metal Show. Want to interact with the show? This is the place to do it. X is the one mainstream social media platform we actively focus on, making it the best way to connect directly with us. Follow now at x.com/CMSRocks and join the conversation.
That would have gone a long way, in my opinion, as far as, maybe patching up, integrity there. But,
Sure.
It's besides the point. I mean, if he puts out a record, I will still buy it. But as far as I'm concerned, I will never promote another thing he does. I will never work with him. And I think it was incredibly short-sighted to essentially do this to an expo that's filled with podcasters that have all of the reach and all of the audience that you're going to want to promote to when you put this book out and when you put this record out.
Right.
I can't imagine CNN is going to be pounding down his door wanting an interview with him.
And we were saying the same thing, is that, in 2018, 2019, it's not like the LA Weekly is going to call Vinnie fucking Vincent. The only
Right.
press he's going to get is you or Talking Metal or Three Sides of the Coin or whoever, but it's podcast. That is who the medium is right now for washed up rock stars that are trying to make a comeback. And, that's what he is. And now he just crossed 50 of them off the list. And even being more honest, of those 50, at least 15 of them are the biggest ones that reach the most fucking people. You guys and Toomey and Talking Metal and, even on some level us, we were saying before you called, I would not do an interview with Vinnie. And I don't give a shit about what he's doing. It doesn't matter that I'm not a Kiss fan. I wouldn't do it just because he fucked over people that I fucking am friends with. Fuck him.
Right. Yeah, I'm not going to do any more promotion for him after this, for sure.
Yeah, it's on to fucking Bruce Kulick, man.
We already had Bruce on the show.
Oh, I know. I'm saying
you have that negative Bruce story yourself.
Yeah. I did not have a good run with Bruce, but
you're the one person that had a bad run-in with Bruce Kulick.
And it might just have been a bad day. It could very well have just been a bad day, but yeah, he was kind of a dick to me once. But is what it is. But so dude, give the plugs and whatnot of the expo, man. Where can people get tickets? Who all's coming, etc.
Yeah. So it's you can just go to NashvilleRockandPodExpo.com, or you can go to look up Nashville Rockin' Pod, the letter N, not and look it up on Facebook, social media. It's all over social media. It's everywhere. Some of the guests we have, we have Brian Head Welch from Korn, who's going to be there, who is not charging a dime for his appearance or his autograph, I must say, and he's sold a hell of a lot more albums.
Right.
Also, we have Sandy Gennaro, who's played drums with Bo Diddley, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. A lot of people, the Monkees even. I've got Michael Becerra, who was the singer for Loudness and Obsession and Yngwie for a while. Put me on the spot. Gary Corbett, who's been with Kiss and Cinderella. So, see, I can still use the former member of Kiss thing on the advertising, so that helps.
Right. What about, is it Max Norman or Michael Wagner? Are those guys coming? Somebody from them?
Yeah, Michael Wagner is coming back this year, and also Toby Wright, the producer.
Right, yeah.
So, and then we're working on And I've got other guests that, I'm in the middle of driving in the car, so I can't really think clearly right now. But also, I can give you a couple of exclusive announcements real quick.
All right.
Were either of you a fan of Kick Tracy?
I like the Field Trip EP.
Okay, well, Steven Chereau is going to be announced soon.
Okay.
He's going to come. Drew Fortier from Bang Tango is going to be coming.
All right.
We announced him last week, and this is pretty cool. Well, I'll just say one of the two bands because the second one hasn't signed their contract yet, but we have two bands playing the pre-party concert and appearing at the expo, one of which will be Tora Tora.
All right, very cool.
Yeah, and then we have a comedy show the night after at the Nashville Zanies, and that will feature Craig Gass, Courtney Cronin-Zold, and Earl Skakel from the Inappropriate Earl podcast.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's pretty much where we're at right now.
Very cool, man. Well, dude, sorry that you had to get fucked by this fucking asshole, but, nature of the business, I guess,
Well, I kind of wear it like a badge of honor. I get to join the club now.
I hear you, man. All right, man. Well, go drive. Don't wreck.
All right. I will talk to y'all soon. Thanks so much.
All right, brother. See you later.
All right.
All right, later.
All right. There he goes.
So I guess there's not a piece of paper, so Vinny will get away with that.
Oh, well, of course. I mean, you can make all the promises in the world, but until it's written down on paper and signed, not a whole lot you can do about it.
And that's true, but it certainly does not forgive him for being a monumental.
No, I agree with that. I mean, if you're interviewing somebody and they say, "Hey, I can do this, that, and the other," and then you hold them to it, and they go, "Oh,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, dude, I'll put a perfect example out there for Red Rain. Red Rain's playing our little fest, the Summer Bash. And there is a financial piece to it, and I made that arrangement. I made the arrangement between Bill and between the band,
right?
And whatever the money is, And to my knowledge, there's not a piece of paper on it. But me, if I'm before I even say this, I'm going to put this out there very clearly. I have zero reason to think that Bill Shavis would ever do this. I'm just using this as an example. But if it came to the day that Bill said, "Well, I'm not paying your guys," I would pay them myself because I do honorable business. You know what I mean?
Hmm?
And I would honor any commitment that I made to the guys in Red Rain, regardless of, it's not even my festival. It's in the end, it's High Volume Music's festival. We're just kind of, I'm helping out with it. I'm helping put it together, and obviously we're hosting it and whatnot. And once again, I'm going to say, I have no reason to think that Bill would do that other than I'm just using it as an example. Vinnie Vincent should know, if he did any research at all on a festival that he's going to appear at, which you would think he would do, he would know that the last guys in the world that are going to fuck somebody over are these guys, his biggest fans of all time. How many of these concerts have we seen where they're booked by, they're mismanaged because they're booked by the biggest fans in the world? Lots, right?
Right.
But the difference is that these guys have done it on such a DIY level, and they've proven a successful venue or a successful show with the first one. So for Vinny to do this, it's some kind of some weird, I might not get my money, so I'm going to fuck you guys. And, and I don't know. The whole thing frustrates me to no end because when you're looking at it too, dude, I mean, think about it. Now they got to refund all these packages that they sold. That's, even if it doesn't necessarily hurt the expo, it takes time. I mean, if they sold, let's say they sold 50 of them, which I don't know what the number is, 50, 100, whatever it is. Now you got to reach back to 100 or 50 different fucking people, refund them their money. Then you got to figure out, do they still want to go to the expo? Did they buy tickets
specifically
to the expo?
to meet Vinny? I get that. And I'm not trying to be a dick here. Seriously, I'm not.
No, I know.
But you got to get it in writing.
I agree.
I mean, if Vinny did not sign a contract with those stipulations in it and they announced it prior to the signing, and this goes back to professional things. Remember, when was it? 2 years ago? Before the announcement of the big Doc and Reunion show?
Right, sure.
George was already out there promoting it and saying we're doing this and all this and that. And Don wouldn't say a word about it because the contracts weren't signed.
Right, sure.
And he made that very clear. He's just like, I don't have any paper on that. I have nothing on that. He goes, yeah, we've talked about it. And yeah, we are planning on it. But until I get a signed contract in my hand, I'm not going to announce it.
Right, and I think that's obviously the lesson that's been learned by Chris and Decibel Geek. I'm positive that if he's withholding that bands on the level of Bang Tango might show up, then let's face it, he's learned the lesson about the contract.
Yeah, you got to have it in writing.
You do, and again, and he admitted himself that he thinks that Vinny was taking advantage of his fandom.
Well, regardless if Vinny was taking advantage of it or not, got to have it in writing.
Yeah, you can't be a fan. That's why the promoters that do the best work are guys that do not love the music that they fucking sell. I mean, those are the guys. That's why this is going to sound really, really weird. But did you ever go into the Live Nation offices in Cleveland?
No, never been there.
You know what you don't hear in the Live Nation offices in Cleveland? Do you know what you don't hear?
No, what is it?
Music. They do not play music in the room because they do not want anybody to be fucking into that zone to where it's a fan thing where they make fan decisions. They keep it's almost at least it used to be. It was like it's
a sterile environment.
Exactly. It's like a business.
Yeah, well, it is a business.
Right. But, I mean, sometimes you go into, Scene Magazine or something, and it's like a rock, it's like a rock place or whatever. But Live Nation's offices were not. It was definitely like, a widget shop. Where people were on the phones and there was no noise and there was nobody that was humming along to fucking the Bon Jovi while they were booking the Bon Jovi tour.
Right.
It was all business.
Well, as it should be. I mean, again, fandom is one thing, but business is another thing, especially when you're dealing with, I don't care if it's $100 or $100 million. It's business.
It is business. And the hardest thing, and Sinzak is definitely guilty of this, I guess. I don't know if guilty is the right word, but it's just what I believe happens here. When you don't do it all the time, when you don't do it professionally, your fandom does have a much more weight. If his day job was booking shows, Vinnie Vincent would just be another act. Even if he was a huge fan of Vinnie Vincent, he would still treat Vinnie Vincent like another act. But because he doesn't book these things all the time, I think he let his fandom get run away with him a little bit, and that's that's his lesson learned. But in the end, you should still be able to trust somebody that knows that you're working, that knew all the scenario. He knew I don't care what the contract situation was on this deal. This guy knew that fans of his were trying to get him to a fan-friendly convention, and he agreed to it, and then he bait and switched it. And regardless of a contract, see, and we had this conversation before, long before, with the Rat Bobby Blotzer thing. I don't give a shit what the legal scenario is. It doesn't forgive him for being a piece of shit. He's still a piece of shit. He's less of a piece of shit in the legal world, but he's still in the rock fan world. He's a fucking cocksucker. Just a fucking asshole. And, fuck him. I hope when he puts his book out, not one motherfucker will interview him. I know that won't happen because then people would actually have to show some spine and fucking not interview what would be a big interview for them. But fuck him. I know one person won't be interviewing him, me. Fuck him. I'll never help Vinnie Vincent. Not that I was much help to Vinnie Vincent beforehand, but before this all went down, I would have done an interview with Vinnie, even though I'm not a fan. Of course I would have. Now, there's no chance. Now, I don't even know that I would forward it to you to see if you wanted to do it. I think I would take a fucking stand and just say, you know what, Vinny? Fuck you. You're not taking advantage of our listeners' fucking generosity the way you did Decibel Geeks fucking listeners and their generosity. Here's a generous bag of dicks for you to eat, you fuck.
Eat a bag of dicks.
Yeah, I fucking hate not only Vinny, but he's now the latest in this fucking mess. I hate these guys that are not honorable. Fucking hate.
But the thing is, and again, I'm going to use an old cliche here.
Mm-hmm.
Past practice often dictates future behavior.
Bingo.
And this is nothing new for this guy.
No, not at all.
But,
and I know,
but again, people are blinded by their fandom,
right?
Their worship, their hero worship of certain people, and they want to overlook that kind of stuff.
Right. And look, I know Chris is a fan, and I also know Chris is a much nicer guy than this Chris. Sinzak is much nicer than Aiken is. And, I mean, you heard it when he was on the phone. He still doesn't want to hammer Vinny for those fucking box sets. Fuck him. Doesn't matter what his reasons were. He stole those people's money. Period. He offered them a product. He didn't deliver it. He fucking fucked them. And Chris's fandom let him fall into that same category. It won't happen to me. He probably didn't think it out front, but, he thought that he was building a relationship with this guy, a business relationship, and this guy turned around and just fucked him in the ass. Which probably doesn't seem like such a stretch for Vinny, just from looking at him anyway. Ugh. Makes me nauseous. Fuck Vinnie Vincent.
Yeah, pal.
Fuck him.
He'll never be on this show. That's for sure.
That's it. Everybody delete Lick It Up from your fucking catalog.
Exactly.
Fuck him. Ugh.
Too funny.
So anyway, that's Vinnie Vincent now.
All right. Well, I'm going to play a song or two, and we'll come back and we'll do a couple of things, and we're going to wrap up the show. We got about an hour and 25 minutes.
This is blown by. Can you tell my voice is just going to shit?
Yeah, I could tell. You're getting a little raspy.
I need some water here.
All right. Well, Ron Keel made an appearance on the show last week.
He did.
Chit-chatted with us for a few minutes. Got a lot of things going on.
Mm-hmm.
The re-release of The Metal Cowboy was put out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play something from that CD.
Okay.
This is Ron Keel with Long Gone Bad, just like Vinnie Vincent.
No kidding.
All right. Here's Ron Keel exclusively here
on your Classic Metal Show.
Hey, this is Ron Keel, and you're tuned in to the Classic Metal Show, the hardest rockin' show on the dial. You got it!
Looking for the ultimate home for hard rock and heavy metal 24 hours a day? Then lock into CMS Radio at cmsradio.net. Choose from 2 killer channels. CMS 24/7 features classic episodes from the history of the Classic Metal Show, plus a daily rebroadcast of the latest CMS episode with music every day at noon Eastern. Or crank up CMS Rocks, your non-stop hard rock and metal station, featuring Charlie Kendall's Metal Shop every Monday at 7 a.m., 10 a.m., and 6 p.m. Eastern. Whether you're on your phone, tablet, or computer, the soundtrack to your day is waiting. CMS Radio. Loud, heavy, unfiltered. Tune in now at cmsradio.net.